Hello, Aries. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, so we have that adjustment card energy. Every reading, I shuffle around in the cards and pull one at random, and it kind of just sets a tone, or at least gives me an idea of like what realm of vibes or focus or whatever it might be, what is going to kind of flavor this reading. Now, it doesn't always coincide. Sometimes we get completely different energies from the tea leaves, but, in this case, it seems like the adjustment card would really make sense because you Aries have, in these last, 3 months, 4 months or so of readings, there has been this kind of shifting around, finding your new normal, okay? Rebuilding aspects of your life. And also, I think the big thing, is that you have been getting back in touch with yourself in a way that is maybe more honest with yourself than you have been in a long time. And what does that mean? Well, I feel like, a lot of times you maybe have been in situations where there was more compromise than you would have liked. Or you get into, a world where maybe you have a family, maybe you have kids, and, they take priority almost always over our needs, right? Their needs come first. And you do this for years, and it's not like anybody wants you to lose parts of yourself or your identities, but it happens. You become kind of part of a unit, and so then we get into these places, and I think this is kind of the cycle that you've been in, is reestablishing some of that autonomy, reestablishing that relationship you have with yourself, and adjusting, in places that you need to kind of promote that growth, the healing, the growth, the learning of self. And really, I feel probably, and, correct me if I'm wrong, the beginnings of your individuation process. Okay, now we're going to lift this thing up, and I want to go ahead and say thank you for being here. Thank you for clicking on the reading. Thank you for deciding to check out a tea leaf reading. I'm always interested in, have you ever had a tea leaf reading? Have you ever seen tea leaf readings? Have you seen them in movies or, in books or, maybe like your grandma had a sister that used to read tea leaves or, whatever. I love to hear all about it. Also, if this is like the first time you're ever seeing it, I want to hear about that too. I want to hear what are your impressions, okay? And if you want to like, subscribe, or leave that comment, I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you have a prayer request or like you want energy, healing energy, love energy, just to know that you're being thought of, you can put that in the comments. We have a lot of people here that love to pray for each other. I also find it quite a privilege and an honor to be able to pray for you. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to get started. So, it seems like we have somebody in your life who is often kind of come and gone, I get the feeling of this energy kind of rushing in at times. Now, I don't know if this means that, like, there's somebody, like, you know, maybe it's a sibling or a friend or, you know, a family member or whatever that they move away and then you don't see them for a couple years and then they start, you know, coming to family stuff again and suddenly they've, like, moved back to town and, you know, you see them constantly and then they go through another phase where, oh, I'm going to move to the other side of the country and, you know, they're gone again for a while and then they come. It might be something like this. It might be that this is a person who kind of vacillates between maybe being hyper connected with people and emotionally unavailable. Just absolutely shuts down, disappears. You don't hear from them for like a couple days up to like, you know, weeks, months. And it's always kind of been like that. Now, I do feel like you are in a place where they are kind of really in the mix again. And it almost feels to me like this is like they have something that they have really gotten into. Maybe they have found something that feels like a truth to them. And really in this place of like wanting everybody to you know, hear what they have to say. They're like sending you videos, they're sending you news articles, they're sending you, you know, blog posts, shorts, whatever, you know, continually, one after another. You got to watch this, look at this, can you believe this, you know, that kind of thing. And I feel like for you, it is usually something that you can like absolutely, you know, whatever, they're into that stuff. I'm not going to argue with them, you know, I'll humor this or whatever. I don't know that you're that dismissive, but I do feel like this particular time feels different. There seems to be more of like almost like an aggressive quality to it, almost kind of like somebody coming in and trying to like, you know, convert people or missionize people or whatever, you know what I mean? Like full like I was gonna say full colonial mindset. I'm not gonna get all political here, but you know, my family is native, so here we go. But yeah, it feels like somebody coming in and just like absolutely very pushy about this particular thing that they're into. Now, for you, I feel like you're just like in an alignment where you don't want to hear it. Straight up. I don't want to hear it. In fact, I don't want to hear what anybody has to say about anything. I'm not interested in how people feel or think or whatever or believe about anything. I feel like you are Aries, like a lot of us, going through probably a period of time here where you are just not super interested or worried about staying up on like the news cycles and whatever movements and, you know, all of the like social things that are going on, the things that are happening to us collectively, the things that are happening in different parts of the world and all this. And I feel like for you, you're just at a point where it's like, this has just been so much. And now my mind needs a break. And now we have somebody, you know, coming in here into the family stuff, into my space, just completely trying to colonize my mind with whatever it is they're into or, you know, whatever interests they have right now. And that feels invasive and frustrating. And I feel like you feel kind of overwhelmed. Now, to me, it does seem that like, yes, you're in this like readjusting your life and you know, making, strides towards finding a new balance, really. And I don't think it's that you're seeking, like, supreme comfort, right? although that sounds nice, but I feel like it's just like a sense of I want my life to be set up in such a way that I can be productive but not overwhelmed all the time. I can rest and not feel guilty. I have time to like breathe and be with myself for at least a few minutes every single day, not once a week, not once a month, every single day. And yeah, being able to kind of prioritize your needs. And I feel that this has become very important for you. And I don't think that you are willing to go back to however it was before. So then when, this peace, this ease that you are seeking and working hard to obtain, it is disturbed by somebody who is just like a berserker, coming in and just like a bull in a china shop. You're not having it. This is not, no. I have a boundary right here. You see this? Look down. There's a boundary right here. And you will abide it or you are up out of here, period. And I feel like that's it. You are in this mode of, now the other part of this is, and I'm looking over here, we have a person standing here pointing. Okay, now we have two people, okay, and they look like they are face to face, right? We have the head here, holding each other. Okay, we have this person over here pointing. We also have a flower. We have a bird. We have, it looks like maybe the letters JS or TS. And it looks like it says toe. TOE. I want to get back to that one. So anyways, what it feels like to me is kind of like standing, right? You're like standing out here on like, the deck. I want to say like on a cliff, but like that, I don't like, you're looking out like at a beautiful scene. You're at the like, what is that place called? The Grand Canyon. I couldn't think of the name. The Grand Canyon. And you're observing at a safe distance. You're not, hanging over the side taking selfies. But yeah, you're looking down, you're looking at all of the stuff that you want to obtain, how you would like your kingdom to be laid out. And I feel like this is the priority of your life right now, is to really lock in and to get to that place where you have set your life up, where things are running pretty smoothly. You are able to, apply those boundaries where needed and stick to them. And I do feel like there's a sense of, coming into creativity, having something to say. I really feel like with the bird and the flower, there is a sense of like a fruitfulness with your message. And what that says to me is that you have something to say, you have something to create. So if you make art or you're crafty or maybe you write or, maybe you express yourself through like building little businesses or side hustles or whatever it is, I feel like this is a place that's going to be such an important outlet for you. Okay. Now, I also feel like your relationship or a potential relationship, this is also going to be something that is super important for you. And I do feel like this is romantic. Now, that being said, it could be that this is with yourself, right? You are courting yourself. You are doing that radical self-love, which there is no love story like the love story we have with ourselves. I mean, really. I know it sounds corny, and I know It is probably, if you observe somebody doing the affirmations and like loving on self and giving yourself a hug and, you know, all that kind of stuff, it probably seems pretty like, okay, all right, well, if it works for you, okay, I'm not going to judge you. You know, I get it. I'm a little cynical, or a lot cynical. But I promise you, if you do court yourself and treat yourself and do the things that you would do with somebody else, with yourself, like going on dates, like, you know, saying nice things and reminding yourself, like, I really appreciate you and you look beautiful and, you know, you are an excellent cook or, you know, whatever. That's one of my passions. So whenever I hear that, I'm like, oh, really? But, you know, yeah, doing this with yourself, there's no love story like that. I promise you. So I think that's an important feature. Also, with the butterfly that I saw over here, I absolutely feel like there's just such a deep self-evolution happening. So it doesn't feel like it is hard to love yourself or want to, like, you know, absolutely, like, you know, fawn over yourself and all of that, because you have a lot to be proud of. Not old stuff like, yeah, back in high school I used to, you know, run track and I got first place in whatever. I don't know. I didn't run track, so I don't know all the races. But you know what I mean? We all have things where we're like, yeah, back in the day, you know, this is what I did, or this is who I knew, or whatever. But when that becomes like our only source of like confidence and like, oh yeah, I was cool one time, I swear to God, you know, man, we got to start updating our good times, our times that we should be proud of ourselves. We got to start getting out there and doing more, making memories, because, you know, I feel like for you, you're in a place where you are doing things that you are proud of. You are currently living a life that you are stoked about. And so it is easy to feel good about that right now. And I love that for you. Absolutely. Bring a little bit over here. I need a little bit of that magic fairy dust as well, you know? So let's go ahead. We're going to turn this thing one more time. We have the word yes. Oh, and the toe. That's the thing. We have scissors right up here. Look at that. Scissors. What happened with the toe? We have a mess over here. It looks like chaotic again. We have the whale, which is family and psychic. Long communication over long space or long distance, right? So it does feel to me that there is a sense of maybe cutting ties with the chaos in your life. Maybe you're going through a cleansing cycle. You know, you might just have to let some people get on up out of here, right? Now, let's see. We have, you know what? I want to ask, I'm going to put this over here. How am I going to do this? We're going to put this over here. I'm going to get the water out of it so it doesn't change. We're going to put you right here. I'm going to take these are the Oracle of the Radiant Sun cards, and we're just going to ask about that toe, because I'm like, what is going on with the toe? So we have enterprise, riches. One thing I love about the toe symbolism is it used to be that when the gods, and I know this from a story about Caligula, that the most terrible tyrant, psychopath, ruler. They called him Little Boots, and he was just a sadist. I mean, straight up. But there was a story about him going to the temple of, I feel like he was at the temple of Jupiter, possibly Hera, but I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but it was one of the chief deities, his chief deities. And there's a story of he had a vision or an experience, an encounter where the god put his leg down with his foot down from the skies, the heavens, and touched him on the top of the head with his left big toe. And this was a sign of being anointed, okay? So we have enterprise, riches, and intuition. So this has to do with business in some way. Now, the toe, where to be okay, so elevated, some kind of affair, not a bad affair, not always in vision. Okay. So I feel like within business, there seems to be the sense of maybe being in a leadership role or getting some kind of maybe like a bonus because you did so well on some aspect of your job. Now, I do feel that there is a sense of, with the affair, there seems to be like a appreciation, yeah. Concentration. Okay. Somebody you work with. I'm sorry. It's somebody you work with. I do. I feel like this is somebody you do, either you work, you make money with them. They're on like a team. You're there in your department. There is a real kindredness. You're in love with them to some degree. You might be married to somebody else. Like, this isn't your primary relationship. I'm just going to say that straight up. Because it feels idealistic. It feels like you don't have to, like, wash this person's clothes. You know what I mean? There's no sense of, like, that other side of the relationship where you're domestic and, like, you're all the icky stuff and the, like, oh, I guess I'll do it, moments like that. There's none of that. So this tells me that this is somebody that you don't have, like, a deep, real, like, you're not living with them. You know what I mean? But you're in love. You work well together. I mean, that's, yeah. And you appreciate them. They appreciate you. That might even be, like, the biggest thing, right? When you are together, there seems to be this real ability for vision, to be able to, like, see your way forward in, like, a project, or, like, how do we want to create this, whatever. It just, your ability to concentrate and be in that space with them, really, really is so helpful. Now, there is resistance, okay? I don't think that you are going to realize this relationship, and I don't think that you should. I think that, having that maybe little bit of, what's the word? Not stress, what is the word? Tension. The tension between you two is a motivator. You're a person that, like, if you have a little crush at work, it makes work feel nice, and I don't care. I'm not judging you if you're married or have a significant other or whatever. Let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all had jobs. We've all had to spend our lives there, Now, I'm saying I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it now. I'm glad I own a business with my husband and I'm his only coworker, but you know, it happens. It happens. It happens. You know, we all need our things in life to look forward to, the people to look forward to. I'm fully in my I don't want men in my life era. I only want cool ass chicks in my life, like women that are awesome and I can hang out with and build, you know, like a beautiful world, private world with, you know, friendships, deep friendships, sisters, you know, and you know, that's my kind of, and it could be that for you, right? It doesn't always have to be super romantic, like we're going to, you know, end up together or hook up or anything like that. No, you know, it can be that you fall in love with like some person that you are platonically drawn to, you know, and that happens. I do. I fall in love with my friends. Absolutely. I do. And actually, I'm doing an Aries reading. My best friend is an Aries. If you're listening, babe, I love you. And I'm in love with you. I've always been. I have been since we were, when did we meet? We were 11, 12? All right, let's see. So 21. We have a younger feminine energy. We have an older feminine energy. We have, it seems like, missed connections, maybe doing phone tag back and forth. There seems to be a sense of like needing to talk to get on the same page about something. Now, we also have the house up here. So I do feel like this has something to do with like family stuff, family business. Maybe one of your kids, maybe this is your mom and you're the younger energy. But I do feel that there is going to be a necessity to kind of like make sure that you get this conversation had. I don't think it's dire, but I think that it's just something that's going to end up being a real pain if it doesn't get figured out. And that's like the pulling that I'm feeling. I know that's not super exciting for a reading, but like, listen, I'm somebody that will dodge inconvenience at all costs. So absolutely. I would love for somebody to tell me like, you need to get this figured out or it's going to cause a lot of inconvenience in about 3 days, and I will be on it, baby. Done. Say no more. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to do our lucky numbers. Go. Number 89. I got to get my daughter's stamps bag. 34. ADD brain, right? 23. I don't know. Those feel like pretty good numbers. Now we're going to finish with our Wild Offering Oracle cards. And I need to find a pen so I can write that down, or I'll text my husband so I don't forget. Dance bag. Mom needs to get the dance bag. I do. I make little songs for myself. I saw this lady. Let me just talk about this real quick. I'm sorry. I'm going to ramble. The reading's not too long, so I can do a little ramble. The other day, I saw a short of a lady who has ADHD and autism, I think. Maybe I can't remember. Maybe just ADHD. I don't remember. I myself am neurodivergent, if you could not tell. I got the tisms, I got the ADHD, and the CPTSD. And so anyways, this lady, she was walking through her house with her hand up, and she was repeating what she needed to do, which was, I think, putting water in the, I can't remember now. I don't remember. It was something outside. And she was doing something, maybe watering her plants or something. But she was coming downstairs. Her husband was filming. She was saying, I gotta go outside and water, whatever. You know, water the plants. And I was like, that's genius. That is so genius. I repeat things. I also, in the videos she had on her counter, she sat out, you know, like one totem for each thing she needed to talk to her husband about, like the bill she needed to talk about, or, you know, the empty thing of coffee. Like, is this the same coffee you want me to order? I wanted to ask you. I put this here so I would remember. And it was all lined up on the counter. That is me. I totally do that as like a scatterbrain mama. I line my stuff up. I do it on my bed too. All of my projects I have to do for the day and stuff, it's lined up around my bed in a clock order of how I need to do it. And it keeps me on task. But I just love it. I would love to hear if you have any you know, hacks that you use to remember how when you have to do things, let me know. But I love that one. Like just holding your hand up so you're moving your body and keeping like this is a placeholder, and then you're repeating the things so you don't get distracted, you know. And I do. I'm like always. I'm like I'm going to go and put the laundry in the dryer, and I'm on my way, and oh my gosh, why is that chair not tucked in? I'm gonna go tuck in that chair, push it in, and here we go. Oh, look at that, there's a smudge on the table. Maybe I should I'm just gonna clean this up. Oh, I gotta let the water run so it gets a little warm. I don't want to put cold water on the table. That's not gonna disinfect it. Wait a second, I need to put the clothes in. You feel me? You hear me? You hear me? It's all day long. So anyways, I love it. I want to hear your hacks. Let me know in the comments. And we're going to do our wild offering cards. Okay, we'll stop right there. We're going to flip her over. Divine timing. The divine brings things in the timing that we need. Nothing comes before we're prepared, nor leaves too early. May I always trust your perfect and holy timing, dear Lord. Absolutely. All right, Pisces, I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for being here with me. It's always such a huge honor for me. It truly is. And if you just want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, if you don't want to, that's okay too. But I would love to hear from you. And I think that's it. All right. I love you. Take care of yourself. We'll talk soon. Good night.